Imagine this. You walk into a room and there she is, elegant, radiant eyes full of quiet defiance. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't chase. She moves like she owns the air around her. And you think you're invisible, out of her league. But what if I told you, that woman, the one who seems untouchable, has emotional weak points? Not the kind you can see. Not the ones she posts on Instagram, but deep psychological openings, hidden vulnerabilities she'll never admit, even to herself. Weaknesses that, if you understand them, don't just make her attracted to you, they make her need you without understanding why. This isn't about manipulation. This is about awareness. It's about stepping out of the game every other guy is playing and mastering the one that actually matters. Most men chase women, but the man who understands this doesn't chase. He becomes the experience she can't forget. So if you're ready to learn the triggers that bypass logic and speak directly to her emotional core, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Here's the truth no one tells you: women don't fall for men. They fall for the feeling a man gives them. She might say she wants stability, logic, or a man who has it all together. But what actually makes her stay is emotional escapism. It's the thrill of unpredictability, the relief of not being the one in control for once. It's that moment when her logical world fades and emotion takes over. That's why women are drawn to bad boys, rebellious artists, or mysterious travelers. Not because they're better men, but because they create a world she can disappear into. Think about it. She spent all day making decisions, performing under pressure, solving problems. And then she meets a man who doesn't follow the script. He teases her, challenges her, surprises her. He makes her feel, and suddenly her whole system resets. I knew a woman executive at a global firm, brilliant, organized, composed. She was engaged to the perfect man, a doctor, reliable, safe. And yet, she left him. Why? In her words, "He never made me feel anything." She ended up with a musician who once canceled a date mid-dinner to run off and record an idea. Sounds selfish, sure, but he made her heart beat again. And most men never understand that. They think consistency equals value, but emotional flat lines don't spark connection. If you're always texting at the same time, always agreeing, always playing it safe, she might like you, but she'll never crave you. So what do? You disrupt the rhythm, tell stories that spark her imagination, pull her into your emotional world, leave room for tension. Don't always be available, don't always agree. Remember, you don't need to be dangerous, you need to be unforgettable. You're not trying to become her fantasy. You're becoming the man she can't stop thinking about, even after she walks away. Most men think that being agreeable means being liked, that if you're always there, always kind, always accommodating, she'll eventually fall for you. But here's the paradox. The more you try to please her, the less she values you. Women might say they want a man who listens, who follows their lead, who never argues. But watch who they actually chase. It's never the guy who sacrifices everything for her approval. It's the one who sets the tone and doesn't flinch when tested. You see, women don't respect men who give themselves away too easily. They respect the man who values his time, his energy, his mission, and above all, his boundaries. Because boundaries are attractive. Why? Because they signal self-worth. A man who can say no without guilt. A man who doesn't change his opinion just to keep the peace. A man who can walk away if he's not being respected is a man she'll never forget. Let me tell you about Carlos. He fell hard for a woman who was smart, beautiful, and wildly unpredictable. She'd cancel plans last minute, disappear for days, reappear with a simple "hey," and every single time Carlos jumped to reply. He made himself too available, too eager, and within a few weeks she ghosted him for good. Why? Because she lost all respect. Now compare that with Omar. Same girl, same games, but when she flaked, he said, "I don't do maybes. If you want real connection, I'm here. If not, I'm not wasting time." What happened next? She apologized, then chased him for months. Here's something no one tells you. Women test men, sometimes consciously, most of the time subconsciously. They cancel last minute to see if you'll chase. They criticize your opinions to see if you'll fold. They dominate the conversation to see if you'll back down. And the moment she realizes you stand your ground, not aggressively, not emotionally, but calmly and without apology, she stops testing and starts respecting. And when a woman respects you, real attraction begins. Stop trying to win her over. Let her meet your standards. If she crosses a line, say so. If she disrespects your time, walk away. If she challenges your values, stay rooted. You are not here to fit her world. You're here to build your own and invite her into it. And the irony, the moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts wondering how to keep you. Think about the last movie you couldn't stop watching. Was it the one where you knew exactly what would happen next? Or was it the one that left you wondering, guessing, asking, what does that mean? Where is this going? The answer's obvious. Because tension is addictive, and so is uncertainty. Now here's the psychological truth. Women experience attraction the same way they experience suspense. The more predictable you are, the faster she categorizes you. And once she feels like she has you emotionally, mentally, physically, the chase is over. The intrigue vanishes. But if you stay just outside her reach, if she can't quite define what you are to her, if she finds herself asking, does he like me as much as I like him? That's when the game changes. That's when she becomes invested. Let's break it down with something simple: texting. You meet a woman, she's gorgeous, you're excited, you want to do things right. So you respond instantly. You send her long, thoughtful messages. You say things like, I really like you. You're so beautiful. I'm free whenever you want to hang out. Sounds sweet, right? Wrong. What you're doing is removing every drop of tension. You're removing the mystery. And without mystery, there's no chemistry. I once knew a guy named Malik. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't rich, but he had this quiet confidence, and more importantly, he never rushed to show interest. After his first date, he didn't text, had a great time. He waited. He let her reach out first. When she asked if he liked her, he smiled and said, I enjoy spending time with people who surprise me. So far you're doing okay. She was hooked. Why? Because he gave her just enough, but never everything. He stayed just out of emotional reach. And that uncertainty made her crave his attention like oxygen. Now listen, this isn't about being cold or manipulative or distant for the sake of ego. It's about emotional pacing. Delay your responses. Let tension build before confessing anything. Give her just enough to stay curious. And most importantly, maintain a life she can't control. Here's the irony. The less predictable you are, the more she thinks about you. And when she thinks about you, she imagines you. And when she imagines you, you become unforgettable. So don't rush to define things. Let the mystery unfold. Because the second she's unsure about where she stands with you, that is the exact moment she starts chasing you. Every man wants to be admired. Every woman wants to feel safe. And the link between the two is leadership. Not domination, not control, not ego, but calm, grounded, purposeful direction. That's what pulls her in deeper than words ever could. A woman will rarely tell you she wants a man to lead. She'll say she wants partnership. She'll say she's independent. And she probably is. But attraction doesn't follow political correctness. It follows emotional reality. And the emotional reality is this. A woman is wired to trust the man who knows where he's going, even if she doesn't agree with him at first. Where do you want to eat? Sounds harmless, right? But now she has to make the plan. She has to take the lead. She has to become the masculine energy in that moment. And she doesn't want that. Even if she doesn't say it, she feels it. That subtle shift where she no longer relaxes into your energy but steps into it. And that's where attraction quietly begins to erode. A guy I coached, Nathan, was dating a woman who always seemed half in. She said yes to dates, but with hesitation. She liked him, but never initiated. Until one day he flipped the switch. Instead of asking, what do you feel like doing? He said, I made reservations for 7. I think you'll like the place. Wear something black. Her reply, damn, that was hot. Nothing else changed. Not his looks, not his money, just his frame. He stepped into the role of leadership, and she stepped into her natural feminine response, surrendering into it. Leadership doesn't mean barking orders. It doesn't mean making every decision or controlling her life. It means certainty. Certainty in your values, certainty in your direction, certainty in your energy. When you live with clarity and conviction, she doesn't have to carry the burden of constant emotional steering. And that to a woman is pure oxygen. Make decisions without always asking for input. Invite her into your plans, don't orbit around hers. Hold your position when she tests you. Speak with intention, not apology. You don't need to impress her, you don't need her validation. You simply need purpose. When you live like a man who knows where he's headed, she'll want to come along for the ride. Because here's the truth. No woman fantasizes about leading a man. She dreams of the man she can trust enough to follow. Here's the uncomfortable truth no one tells you. The moment you make her the center of your life is the moment she starts looking for the exit. That might sound cruel, especially if you're the kind of man who values loyalty, depth, and commitment. Maybe you've been told your whole life that women want to feel like you're number one, that they want to be the reason you wake up in the morning, that putting her first is what makes you a good man. But in practice, that thinking leads to rejection. Because women don't fall for a man who orbits around them. They fall for a man who's already in motion with purpose, with passion, with vision. A man who doesn't need her to be whole, but invites her into a life that's already rich, meaningful, and exciting. It usually starts with good intentions. You meet her, you're into her. You want to show her how serious you are. So what do? You cancel your gym sessions, you reschedule meetings, you start texting her every hour. Your focus shifts. You drop the things that made you grounded and confident in the first place. And at first she might appreciate it. She might even thank you. But deep down, she stops respecting you. Because now, she doesn't feel like she's earned that level of priority. And what's given too easily is valued too little. Let me give you a contrast between two real men I've coached. Ethan met a woman during a slow period in his life. No real direction. He latched onto her emotionally. She became his highlight, his focus, his identity. At first she was flattered, but 3 months in she felt smothered. She told him, "You make me feel like I'm your entire life." And just like that, she was gone. Now, enter Michael, a startup founder with a full calendar, intense routines, and a disciplined focus. When he met Lisa, he didn't change his rhythm. He invited her to be part of it. She joined him at events, watched him pitch, saw how his friends respected him. He didn't abandon his world. He expanded it with her inside. Guess who she stayed with? Keep your rituals, Jim. Hobbies, business goals, these are your pillars. Do not sacrifice them for connection. They are the very reason she felt drawn to you. Be clear about your mission. Let her feel that she's part of something bigger, not the big thing. Don't give up solitude. Don't lose your edge by always being available. A man who enjoys his own company is a man she can trust to handle life. Women don't fall for men who put them on a pedestal. They fall for men who make them feel lucky just to be invited into the kingdom. Let her orbit your purpose. And if you do it right, she'll never want to leave. There's a dangerous addiction that most men fall into, and it's called chronic validation. We're talking about compliments every morning, heart emojis on every post, emotional confessions 2 dates in. Sounds sweet, right? Wrong. In fact, it's one of the fastest ways to repel her, and you won't even know it's happening. Why? Because over-validation doesn't just communicate interest, it communicates desperation. Imagine you're trying to hire someone for a high-level role in your company. One applicant shows up calm, confident, competent. He knows his value. The other, he praises your company non-stop, tells you how badly he needs the job, offers to work overtime without being asked. Who do you trust more? Same thing in attraction. When you flood a woman with unearned praise, what you're really saying is, "I value you more than I value myself. You didn't have to do anything, just your existence earns my full approval." It feels good in the moment, but it kills respect long-term. The first "you're beautiful" might land, the 5th expected, the 10th ignored, the 20th annoying. What's rare is valued, what's constant becomes background noise. Daniel met Sarah at a mutual friend's party. Great vibe, great connection. He texted her that night. "You're amazing. Next morning, you're the most beautiful woman I've met. Next day, I can't stop thinking about you." 3 days later, she stopped replying. Daniel was confused. What did I do wrong? Here's the truth. He gave her emotional oxygen before she had even asked for it. There was no mystery, no space, no contrast. He gave her everything and she felt nothing. Be specific instead of "you're amazing." Say, "The way you handled that situation was sharp. I like that in a person." Validate behavior, not beauty. Reward depth, curiosity, ambition, not just her looks. Let silence speak. A pause, a look, a smile can validate more than words. Every "I miss you" loses power if it's not anchored in restraint. Every compliment should feel like it had to earn its way out of your mouth. Let her wonder how you see her. Let her want your approval, don't flood her with it. We live in a culture of noise. Social media, rapid text, constant opinions, everyone's trying to say more, do more, impress more. But here's the strange truth. The man who speaks less is often the most powerful. The man who doesn't try to impress is often the most unforgettable. There's something magnetic about a man who can sit in silence and still feel solid. He doesn't fidget, he doesn't rush to fill space. He doesn't need to prove he belongs because he already knows he does. That energy, women feel it instantly. Because in that stillness, they sense safety. They sense depth. They sense control. Presence doesn't mean being passive, it means you contain your energy. You don't spill it just to get a reaction. You don't overshare to be liked. You don't perform, you anchor. A man like this becomes unforgettable because he's rare. A woman once said to me, "The sexiest man I ever met barely spoke on our first date, but when he looked at me, I felt like he saw through every layer of me." He didn't need pickup lines. He didn't try to be funny. He was simply present. And presence makes a woman feel seen in a way no words can replicate. Slow down your speech. Calm is power. Hold eye contact, not to dominate, but to witness. Pause before responding. Show that you process, not react. Detach from outcome. Be okay with silence, with not being liked. Presence is silent dominance. It's the masculine calm that makes her feel safe enough to soften. You don't win her over by chasing. You draw her in by simply being more grounded than the noise around her.